do a supplier onboarding assessment where we collect your business profile, your equipment list and capabilities, what are your shop practices, and we do this to help us understand what your capabilities are so that we can try and do the best fit for the work that we would like to send you. Once we have done that, we kick off a trial purchase order and pricing calibration, and it will be a request for quote for your applicable capabilities. And then once that process is completed, we will send you a trial PO where you will have to do complete the work that is on the PO so that we can look at the performance of this particular transactions and then move on to the next stage. This gives you the trial purchase order gives you a chance to work with us, understand how we operate. We understand how you operate, and you actually get to do and manufacture something for us right away without spending too much time in process. Once that is done, we conduct an on-site audit. Once the trial purchase order step is completed and is successful, we will conduct an on-site audit, and then we will basically go through the audit process, and there may be some actions that we may ask you to take so that you are now eligible to become a long-term supplier for SpaceX. And then we will enter into a supplier development agreement where we will have high potential suppliers providing, we will provide them visibility into the supplier's operations and also provide commitments and future forecasts to meet the SpaceX needs. SpaceX has a very, very strong supplier development organization. We have really talented SpaceX engineers who are part of that organization. And this is one of the key advantages that we have provided our suppliers, which is developing our small business suppliers into high-performing suppliers so that they can succeed along with us. And we are looking forward to partnering with you even more as we move forward into the Artemis program. Thank you.
Thank you for all the panelists on that last one, our prime contractor supplier base. As Mr. Glenn Delgado mentioned, over half our dollars that we award to small business or that are provided to small business come through our prime contractors. So please avail yourself to those companies. I just want to let you know we are running a little late, but doesn't mean that we're not going to go ahead and continue with the question and answer and the rest of the program here. Probably be running 15 to 20 minutes beyond the initial time frame that we looked at, but we'll be getting to your questions. So at this point in time, if I could have all the panelists turn on your videos, we can go ahead and do that and keep your mics unmuted until I go ahead and ask the questions. And we'll go ahead and continue on with the question and answer period for right now. So have all the panelists turn on their cameras and unmute or keep yourself muted until asked for questions. So the first question I'd like to go ahead and ask is how to become a successful Artemis supplier. And Chuck Williams, if I could have you and some of your panelists answer this question, I would appreciate that.
So Robert, I'll go ahead and try to answer that.
Thank you very much.
That's a pretty broad question, and as you heard with all of us, all of the primes speaking, the best thing to do, we handle all of our supplier diversities different in each of our large corporations. If you go into our websites, there are some that you can identify a profile and go in and do it that way. All of us have contact points for SBLOs. There are some requirements to do business in the space program and to be a subcontractor. So you need to identify in our websites exactly if you meet those requirements. When you get into a discussion with an SBLO, we will be completely honest that we cannot send you an RFP unless you have, there are some quality requirements depending on your commodity, depending on your capability. And so that's a really broad question. The best thing to do is what we have discussed earlier is do your homework, understand exactly what that prime contractor is looking for and what their requirements are to go forward with the process. That's from Northrop Grumman's point.
Okay, very good. Any of the other prime contractors like to go ahead and share a response to that?
I'd like to add to it.
Hi, this is Patty with Lockheed. I think Jen said it perfectly.
Very good, then. I have this question for Ms. Julia Weiss. Is there a forecast of requirements for 2021 available out there? And Julia, if you're not there, Mr. Glenn Delgado, can you handle this, please?
Okay, I'm actually in the budget meeting and this one. So what was the question? Are there a list of what?
A forecast available for contractors for 2021, forecasted requirements.
The answer to that, I'd say yes, is all federal agencies, including NASA, are required to put out an acquisition forecast twice a year. I believe it's March and October is when we put ours out. But this is kind of a little bit of a difficult question to answer because of the fact we don't know all the firm requirements for these programs as of yet because they're still in the developmental phase per se, and the requirements aren't out until we do a sources sought or an RFI. However, if you look at every federal agency, about 70 to 80% of their spend are on reoccurring contracts that they've had over the past few years. So NASA's pretty good at, we have an active contract listings, as we call it. It's available on our mobile app, and it breaks it out by category of engineering, facilities, going down the line. And it tells you every one of our contracts, which center awarded them, how they were awarded, who the incumbent contractor is, the dollar value, but most importantly, when it expires. So if you know anything about the federal government's acquisition cycle, it's usually a 18 to 24 month period of time. So you need to be able to look at these active contract listings that again on our mobile app and soon to be on our webpage, I believe, and start your looking at it if you want to bid on it at least 18 months in advance. Find out, the statement of work, talk to the person who has the requirements, and then have your proposal and your team ready to go before the RFP hits the street. Because if you wait until then, it'll be way too late to do anything practical.
Okay, thank you, Glenn.
Thanks,
This
Tom.
question.
Thanks, Glenn. I'll just say real quickly, it is up there. It's an FY 2021 agency-wide acquisition forecast. It was just recently updated in April 2021. So I would just say check back there frequently to see what's available, but it is up there for FY 2021.
Thank you, Joey. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Next question I have, I would like to address it to the panelists for the small business specialists and also our prime contractors. And the question is, what is the best place to look for opportunities to apply for? And Richard, I'll have you first answer this with your small business specialist, and then Chuck, if you're and your prime contractors could answer that, I'd appreciate it.
The question is, what's the best place to look for opportunities?
Yes, to apply for, correct.
Okay, so that depends upon what industry you're in. We just mentioned two of them. Glenn just mentioned two of them. One was from the previous question. One's the acquisition forecast, and then Glenn mentioned the active contract listings, which is on the OSBP mobile app. Some opportunities are going to be at the subcontracting level, and for that you have to talk to our primes. And then some opportunities obviously are like simplified acquisitions. They're going to come out on beta.cm.gov. So again, that's a broad question, and the answer is going to depend upon what it is you're selling.
Okay, and Chuck, if we can have your prime contractors, how a contractor they wanted to apply for specific opportunities available, how they would do that.
So yeah, if one of the panelists wants to jump in and give us a response.
Hi, this is Patty with Lockheed.
Hey, this is Tony Holmes.
So I would just say that I believe most of our prime contractors are the same. We don't actually put out forecasts for specific items. So again, it would be on the supplier webpage that you've seen a link for on each of our presentations. And that'll give you some insight into how to register to do business with us, contact information. Again, like we've mentioned before, it is important to do your homework and understand what business area you're looking for. For example, if you want to participate in the Artemis program, that's going to be the Lockheed Martin Space system, and if it's going to be interest in jet fighters, it'd be our aeronautic. So there's a lot of information on each of our prime contractor websites that you can gather there.
Hi, this is Tony.
Very good. Any of the primes
Yeah,
want to add anything?
I'll add a little bit to that as well. So kind of as Jen mentioned earlier, as well as getting to know and having conversations with the SBLOs in the areas of interest that you may have is also really important as well. We are kind of your voice and your advocates as small businesses. So get in touch with and work with SBLOs as well.
Okay. This question, I'd like to go ahead and address this to Mr. Jeffrey Box or Carla Smith from Northeastern Pennsylvania. What does it take to do business in Pennsylvania? Mr. Box and Ms. Smith, are you online? Can you unmute yourself?
Mr. Box is unmuted, so is Mrs. Smith. Ms. Smith, unfortunately, can I hear him right now? Do you mind stepping in?
Sure. In terms of doing work with the PTAC Center, you could just give us a call and we can help you with any of your government needs. I believe our contact information was on one of our slides that we provided. You could also go to our website. And I hope that answered your question.
Okay, very good. I have another question for Ms. Julia Wise. Are you currently working with Ability One distributors?
We are. I can't think of the gentleman's name, but actually, I think I might have a meeting with them. We have some reps that we work with from Ability One, trying to figure out where we can include them in our contracting opportunities. So we are definitely working. You know, OMB has asked the agencies to do more with Ability One contractors. So yes, we're working closely with a couple of representatives from Ability One to figure out where we can, you know, work closer with them for certain product and service lines.
Very good. Thank you, Julia. This question is for Mr. Richard Mann and your panelist. What is the best way to introduce ourselves to the smaller purchase and credit card holders?
So the credit card holder, it's going to be sort of a phone tree, okay? Because this is the bureaucracy of the government to get to the P card holders. I would recommend that you, and this is a kind of a similar answer, you know, for a lot of questions, that you go to our field offices, our centers, and our counterparts at the centers, the small business specialists, and hopefully those people at the centers have lists of the P card holders. Now, one step up from that, if you're talking about simplified acquisitions, which is above the P card threshold of 10,000, anywhere between 10 and 250K, those are all conducted by the NASA Shared Services Center. And that would be Troy Miller, who is the POC there. And I can I'll put his number in the chat, okay, and his contact info in the chat for that, okay?
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that answer. This next question, Mr. John Goody from the Artemis program office. Is there a requirement for change management in the Artemis program?
Change management, yes, we do have that capability already installed. We do have a capability across the programs for managing those activities. It's fairly intensive, as you can probably imagine, given the level of integration that has to take place across all the elements. Let's see, I can get you more information. If there's a way to send me the person who asked the question, I could share with you what we have on that particular topic.
Yes, we do have who submitted that question, so we'll go ahead and provide you that information and get that to you. Next question is, what do you find the most valuable about doing business with small businesses? And Richard, I'll have you answer this, and Mr. Chuck Williams, if you could have your prime contractors respond to that. So okay. What do you find most valuable for doing business with small businesses?
You're talking about, it's mostly, sometimes it's price, and then frequently it's flexibility and innovation. So that's my short answer. I'll kick it over to Chuck and the panelists. Okay, so.
This is just Jennifer Schofield with Northrop Grumman. I do agree with Richard. We love working with small businesses. Their flexibility, their response time seems to be much quicker. A lot of interpersonal technology comes through. Their help phase is great. And we do see most of the time, 90% of the time, the pricing is, obviously something that is very, very important to us as we deliver our product to the government. So everything is basically based on a competitive price, but it's also best value. And a lot of times the small businesses will are not held. They're a little bit more flexible, like Richard said, and so they're able to work with us more closely together, and we're able to be more of a team to get the right product and commodity of what we need. So I would agree.
Thank you, Jennifer. This will be the last question, and let you know on all the questions that were submitted, we will go ahead and provide responses to this, and we will get these questions out to everyone who is registered for this event today. So this last question is from Ms. Joya Wise. What is the best way to contact people who are in procurement and are the decision makers?
Well, that's a good question. So like I said in my video, my presentation, you do want to reach out to the procurement officers. And so if you go to each of the different centers, you probably will see the procurement officers listed at each center. So that's one way to get to them and request a meeting with them. Most of them have a way in which you can contact them to obtain a meeting. So you want to go there and see if you can find information about each procurement officer and then try to request a meeting with them. They will oftentimes bring in their contract specialist or CO that's working on that particular procurement to hear your concerns and to meet with you. Also, too, our senior procurement executive is always willing to have meetings with individuals, really to entertain them, not to entertain their comments and questions. We as well will take meetings and help direct you to where you need to go at various centers as well. We have a strong vendor communications plan. We have a liaison within our office, and so we also will work at the headquarters level to help you navigate whatever center you're looking to work with at NASA, just based on your business line. So definitely reach out to me. I think you might have my information, and I can connect you over to our vendor liaison person that can really assist you in navigating different parts of NASA if you're not able to find the different procurement officers and the folks that they have working on different procurements. So you guys, I think you have my number and email. So if not, I'll put it in the chat. But also I'll put in the chat our vendor liaison person as well that can help them navigate how to get you different procurements.
Okay, and Joy, in the response on that, we'll formally put your contact information in there when we respond to that question. Thank you for your response on that. Thank you very much. At this point in time, I would like to go ahead and turn it over to discuss the matchmaking overview and instruction. And this is a key part of today's industry day, where you're going to get to do one-on-ones with the different buyers within NASA and our prime contractors as well. So at this point in time, I'd like Ms. Stephanie Alexandra to go ahead and tell us how matchmaking is going to work this afternoon.
Good morning. My name is Katie Billick. I'm co-founder and partner at GovMates. First, I wanted to say thank you to the team at NASA. We are very honored again to support matchmaking at this virtual small business event. I will say, echoing what I've heard many of the panelists say up to this point, we believe that small businesses are a critical component of the supply chain, and we know that innovation and unique capabilities can be found in that community. So by way of background, what is GovMates? GovMates is an innovative teaming partner platform for federal contractors. Our goal is to help increase the visibility of small businesses and non-traditional defense contractors for teaming and procurement opportunities. We take a formulaic and methodical approach to matchmaking. And we are hosting the sessions that are taking place this afternoon. So at a very high level, today from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we have 166 one-on-one matchmaking sessions that will be taking place between NASA representatives, primes and integrators with small businesses from both Pennsylvania as well as across all of the US. Now, in a pre-COVID environment, we typically would have had these one-on-one sessions in a physical format. So typically at a large event venue where you'd have little mini business speed dating sessions all taking place at the same time. Well, in light of COVID, we're taking those sessions that would typically take place in a physical format, and we are migrating it to a virtual setting. So all of these business speed dating sessions will happen in 15-minute increments virtually over Microsoft Teams. Concurrently, adjacent to the matchmaking sessions, we will be hosting a networking session for general networking, and that will take place from 1 to 3:30. So we encourage anyone who has downtime in between matchmaking sessions or may not be attending matchmaking, you're still welcome to join us for general networking. You may very well be able to meet other small businesses with whom you can team and partner. There is a reason why all of you have been matched and have to this event. We reached out to all of the buyers, so all of the NASA representatives, as well as the primes and integrators, and we collected the criteria that was most important to them from a teaming and procurement perspective. So for some of the buyers, they may care about precision machining. Others may have been seeking facility support. Others may be looking for cybersecurity. But the reason that these matches were facilitated was because A, the buyers had a need, and B, those small businesses with whom we matched them had specific capabilities or customer past performance or contract vehicles that align with the requesters. So the goal for these matchmaking sessions, for those of you who are participating, is to exchange enough information to determine if there's interest to continue following up, to further that conversation. Some of these buyers may have a specific need for opportunity, while others may be doing this more in relation to general market research and getting a feel for who has specific capabilities. So by and large, take this as an opportunity to make an investment and to really start to build a relationship with a potential customer. So with that, thank you again. We're very excited for matchmaking this afternoon, again, from 1 until 5 Eastern. Thank you.
Katie, one last question before you go. I know most of the matchmaking appointments have been taken, and you may have covered it and I may not have heard it. If there are cancellations, is there a way for them to maybe get one of those cancellations?
Sure, absolutely. And we have had a couple of cancellations happen this morning, so we're continuing to monitor to see if there's last minute cancellations. We do instruct you, if you have not already created a matchmaking profile, please do indeed visit govmates.com to create that profile. That enables us to then slot you into a canceled meeting.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. With this, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. First off, I do want to thank Administrator Senator Bill Nelson for participating in this, and as well as Congressman Matt Cartwright from the 8th Congressional District of Pennsylvania for co-hosting this event. This is the second year that we've done this, and I think it's been very fruitful and beneficial for small businesses in Northeast Pennsylvania as well as throughout the country. And I want to thank all of our presenters today for taking the time out of their busy schedules to come, as well as all the small business all the small businesses that have come and spent their time with us. Like you just heard, the event is not over yet. We will have this 4 hours of matchmaking that will be coming on later on this afternoon. Thank you for all your patience and for indulging us with some of the technical difficulties that we had today, and for the questions that you provided to us. And we will provide you with responses to those, as well as copies of all the presentations that you saw today. At this point in time, I would like to go ahead and turn over the program to Mr. Glenn Delgado to provide us with some closing comments. Glenn.
Thank you, Robert. I was hoping the administrator would be able, if he got back online. I was just in another meeting with him at the same time and he finished, but in case he doesn't make it, I'll do the closing remarks. And first thing I just want to say, Robert just touched on one of the more important things is this entire afternoon is matchmaking. If I heard the young lady correctly, there's between 150 and 200 meetings already set up. Those are the crux of what you need to do, because again, you have to start building relationships with people so you can learn to do business with them. I really like to thank all of our large primes. They were right on target with everything they said. And as I said at the very beginning, you can see they do over $3 billion with us for small businesses to complete our missions. And that is critical. And as you heard them say, the innovation, the speed of the proposals, and any adjustments that are being made are critical, not only to them, but to us to make sure our missions go through on time. Again, I really, as Robert said, I want to thank the administrator, Senator Nelson, and Congressman Cartwright for allowing us the opportunity to expose all the participants to ways that they can do business with the government, as well as NASA, more importantly. And one of my, as I said before, one of my key slides is you have to do your homework. You really need to, when you go to any government facility, including ours, you have to know what they want and how you can supply it. A lot of small businesses make the mistake of going, you know, I'm a HUD zone, I'm a service disabled vet, I'm a woman owned, what can you do for me? You know, that puts us in a little precarious spot. But if you come to us and say, I know you have this particular requirement, I know it's coming up shortly, and this is how I can help you, which one do you think will get a better response? So I'll just leave that seed into your head there, because that is the critical thing, is do your homework, reply to source of thought synopsis and RFIs, and then you'll have you greatly increase your chances for doing work with the government as well as NASA. With that, I'll turn it back to Robert to switch you guys over to matchmaking, which I think we're going to start in about 35, 40 minutes. And I'd again just like to thank everyone for allowing us to give you this information, and hopefully you can develop relationships and get some procurements out of this. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn, and thank you for those comments. And just want to reemphasize what Mr. Delgado said. You know, we're here to all support the NASA mission. We like small businesses because innovation comes from small businesses. Small businesses tend to be more adaptable to changes which we occur within the agency. But as Mr. Delgado says, small businesses that tend to be most successful are the ones that provide us with solutions to support the agency mission. So keep that in mind if you are interested in doing business with NASA, and we do want to hear from you. Again, I want to thank all of our speakers today and panelists for taking the time out of their day to participate in this event, and thank you all for spending your day with us for this first 2 hours. And do participate in the matchmaking event and the appointments that you do have. Please look to the OSBP website for future outreach events that the agency hosts and some of our OSBP learning series. So thank you very much, and thank you for the time today. Have a good day.
Now, Robert, if I can just put one more thing in there, I do want to thank our team as well as the administrators team, the congressman's team, for putting this all together. You guys did well, knocked it out the park. Had a couple of technical issues that weren't your responsibilities, just called IT, and we all know that feeling very well. So thank you for everybody who participated in getting this thing set up and executed. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Okay, take care.
Very good comments. Thank you, Glenn. Have a good day, everyone.